We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội câm nhớ thiết chúng sanh. Tình duyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đan Thô Su Chê Đô Ye La Hơ Đi San Miao San Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Ta Rạc Tha Tô Ya Đà Ya Ha La Đế Tam Miao Tam Bồ Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai jian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jian wen de shou qu Yuan Jie Ru Lai Zhe Shi Yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Huineng, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good knowing advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、六祖师父上人、各位出家人、各位上智师Emitofuo. Kính chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa lục tổ, hòa thượng Tuyên Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện sư thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone. Today is the 7th, I think, of January 2023. We are here at Dharma Treasury Temple to continue discussing the 6th Patriarch Sutra. We're presently on chapter 3, Doubts and Questions, slide number 49. This is the protagonist is the Wei magistrate who, on behalf of the assembly, was asking questions. Here at this spot here, where we are, picking up from the last time, he started asking about the Pure Land Dharma. And the 6th Patriarch was in the process of explaining that to him. So let's delve right into it. Yes, question from JC.
Emitofuo Master, and just have a question about our schedule. So next Saturday, we probably don't have the Sutra lecture, right? And on Sunday, the after the lunch of the celebration of Maitreya Buddha, do we still have a lecture, Master?
Oh, next Friday, the same schedule. Next Saturday will be done after lunch. And so we take a break because people are probably tired and need to get ready to go home or do the laundry and so forth, or catch up on their eating, because a few of them are fasting right now, grudgingly. I can see, I don't like this. Why do I have to suffer again? Because suffering is good for you. It squashes and weakens your ego. So Saturday we have the day off to clean up and do laundry and so forth. And Sunday we have the Dharma assembly. What was it again? Maitreya? Okay. And then at afternoon, usually, remind me, I'm forgetful. Remind me, we usually have Sunday off, right? So it's yes.
Normally we have the ceremony in the morning. I don't quite remember if we have sutra lectures last year.
Okay. If my recollection tells me there is no sutra lectures on that particular weekend, because usually we're tired and we need some time to catch up ourselves on our work as well, our personal work, the Sangha. You don't realize how much work we put into this. It's just a tremendous amount of work. And then we also have to deal with a lot of disruptions. They come at you in so many different ways through many different people. And bring it on. We're learning more and more. Every time there's distraction and disruption, we're learning how to work with them. So typically on that weekend, that Sunday, we don't have lectures. Okay? That's usually after Chanchi. We don't have that lectures at all. And then the following weekend, we start the relics exhibit as well. So there will be no lecture the following weekend either, but the following Friday it will be the regular schedule, right? Because it's just a normal day. So typically the last weekend we really don't have much going on. Okay.
Thank you, Master.
Okay. Thank you for asking. I'm glad we could clarify it. I know some of you are disappointed. I want to cultivate. Yeah. Me too. But in moderation. Okay. I think we stick to that schedule. Okay. Wei Mountain.
Master, I have a question. So after our Chanchi, that same week on Friday, we will have Friday Chan lecture, or we will not? Because
The following Friday?
the Friday after. No, the following Friday, we have Reddick exhibit for the whole entire 9 days. So we're taking into account of Saturday from 21st all the way to Sunday, the 29th. So that's following weekends is still Buddha relics exhibit.
So the Friday during the exhibit, that's what you're trying to get at.
Yes, Master.
Thank you for clarifying it. That Friday, it's also no lecture. That's just exhibit. Okay? That's sort of my time off. It's the only vacation time I have. You're not going to take it away from me, are you? The only break I have is when the relics, when there's relics, because all of you are doing such a great job putting on the exhibit and taking care of our visitors. So I'm very happy about that. That's why I could afford to relax. And there's so many talented and devoted people doing a great job. Okay, Wei Mountain.
Yes, Master. The Friday, the 20th, when we're preparing the relics, do we have lecture that night?
That Friday, yes, we have lecture because it's back to the normal schedule. Okay, that Friday is a regular Friday, ordinary Friday, so we stick to ordinary Friday schedule. Relics is when we don't have the lectures.
Okay,
Let's make it clear. Has always been the case.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Master.
Yeah, you all very busy. If we have a lecture, that's competition. There's a lot of distraction for you to try to support the lecture. Every time we lecture, it's like a lot of people at work, at all the way places. Okay, we don't have enough manpower, and it's internal competition, and that's. In business world, we call it cannibalism. Okay, so we don't. We just focus on the exhibit. Okay, very good. Anything else? Yes, may I welcome too.
Master, when's the next refuge ceremony?
I believe, when is the next refuge? As far as refuge goes, I do what I'm told. When is the next refuge? Anyone remembers? I'm told that 1 yin or something. Is it 1 yin coming up? Will someone look up the schedule, please?
Yes, we're looking it up. So by default, on the calendar is the 3 Guan Yin's birthday, Enlightenment Day, and the Leaving Home Day. So the upcoming Guan Yin's birthday is March 5th, 2023. But normally we would do one after the retreat for the people who want to take refuge.
You mean this retreat?
Every retreat.
But everyone looks so familiar.
Master, I have 5 to 6 applications on hand.
Okay, let's do it. I'm easy.
And I think there's more.
Okay, let's do it. The more disciples I have, I feel better. Okay, so the next one is this weekend.
Shall we do it on the Maitreya's birthday?
Yeah, we do it on Maitreya. Okay, after lunch or something. Is that okay? It's okay with you? Okay. So make the announcement, please. Thank you for asking. Shall we get going? Anything else? Okay. 49 text. Therefore, the Buddha said, as the mind is purified, the Buddha land is purified.
所以佛言，随其心境，即佛土境，即佛度境。
Photo is okay too. In Chinese pronounce it as du, and Taiwanese pronounce it as du. And Vietnamese is do. Thank God, Vietnamese has only one accent. Okay, so the Buddha says, the 6th Patriarch quoted, I don't know where, says, that's why the Buddha said in the past that 随其心境, as your mind is purified, it's not the, it's your mind. This refers to your mind. Okay? It's very personal. The master is saying that there's an emphasis here that's not clear in the Chinese. Because Chinese is implied. Okay? As your mind is purified, the Buddha land is purified. Okay? As your mind is purified, the Buddha land is purified. What does it mean? Okay. What does it mean? I'm trying to look ahead and see whether or not he's going to follow up and clarify this. Okay. What he's referring to is when your mind is purified. What is a mind is purified? The mind is purified here means that the mind becomes pure. What does it mean? What happens when your mind becomes pure? Okay, meaning that your regular mind is not pure. Let's be honest about it. Your thinking mind is not pure. It has a lot of gravels in it. Yes, 4.
Master, sorry, but I checked your old playlist, and after Maitreya's celebration, you do have Dharma talk.
I do have Dharma talk.
Yes.
Of course, I have Dharma talk in the morning, but no lecture.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying it. What's your name again? Okay, Wei Mountain.
Thank you, Master. Apologies, were you asking us for what we think it means when the mind is purified, then the Buddha land becomes purified as well, or was that rhetorical?
No, it's not rhetorical. I don't do rhetorics. Okay, I only do rhetorics only when I want to give someone a hard time. But I like you all too much. Ching.
Thank you, Master. Okay. Well, then, forgive me for this response, but in my mind, what I see is as my mind would be purified, then there's like this kind of like, animated forest, and then Bambi is like happy, and Sleeping Beauty is like waking up, and the thorns are like removing from the forest, and the sun's coming out, and like the little animated birds are chirping and stuff, and like, everybody's like happy.
Yeah, and Dumbo flying.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Wei Mountain. That's it?
Master, this is Francis. I checked the playlist. Looked like the Friday before Relics weekend, we don't have any lecture.
We have lecture?
We don't.
We don't have. Oh, thank you for confirming it. Okay. It's nice to have you on my side. Because I was sort of like, is anyone siding with me? It's so much pressure. Okay, so what is the mind, the purified? Okay, let me remind you. The sad fact is that your mind is not purified. The people who asked about who's seeking rebirth of the Pure Land is because their minds are not purified. That's why they're seeking rebirth. So that's very, very quick check. You want to go for rebirth to the Pure Land or not? Anyone? See? Impure. Let's make it clear, okay? Okay, it's no beating around the bush. Okay. Yes, sir. Two.
Master, the more calm you are on the inside, the more calm it is on the outside. That's where I'm coming from.
Yes, but it's very specific. When the Buddha said, when the mind is purified, okay, I'm trying to point out to you, it actually means something. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you that I'm pointing out specific people to tell them that the mind is not purified. And the Buddha says, when your mind is purified, then the Buddha land is purified. Okay? So that we need to be aware of it. That's all. We are seeking rebirth only because our mind is impure. When your mind is pure, then the Buddha land is purified already. You don't need to seek rebirth. That's his point. Okay, that's why now do you agree with me? It should be your and not the, because it says, whose mind, who's seeking rebirth, right? Then your mind is not purified. That's all. Okay. Answer from JMT.
탐진치가 없는 것이 청정함입니다. 정토에 가고 싶다, 복을 지어야 되겠다, 뭐 아란이 돼야 되겠다, 이런 것이 탐심이고 청정하지 않은 것입니다.
Nine. Baby is about to speak.
Jimmy said no greed, no anger, no stupidity means purity. And if you want to go to Pure Land, if you want to be an arahat, first stage arahat, such thing is impurity.
Okay. More specifically, when the Buddha here says, when your mind is purified, I need you to understand, he's referring to at the time when you become enlightened, first ground, Bodhisattva, or higher. It cannot be below. This is very technical, very specific. Okay? Until then, your mind is not purified. That's why my proof is that those people who raise their hands is not there yet. Okay? All right, next. 51. Magistrate, if the person of the East merely purifies his mind, he is without offense. Whereas one may be of the West, and if his mind is impure, he is at fault.
使君东方人，但心境即无罪；虽西方人，心境亦有眼。
有千, maybe?
I'm not sure. 千
I think so. Yeah. 52.
千 yes.
So the patriarch, is you see how he teaches his students. this is one of his style. His styles. He says he shows us our mistakes, the wrong kind of thinking. How many monks you know do that? That's why Master Hsien stood out in my mind immediately. I met with him, listened to him, and he said, "You're wrong. You're wrong. You shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do that." And many monks say, "Oh, you're so special. I love more." It's so sad to see such monks. But anyway, so the 6th Patriarch is the same thing. He's pointing out to us. He says, if someone in the East, purifies his mind, he's without offense. If he has no offense, why does he need to go to the Pure Land? Again, purifies his mind here means enlightened. All right? Very specific. It's very precise. You have, when this mere person in the East becomes enlightened, he's without offense. Whereas one, maybe of the West, refers to maybe someone in the Pure Land itself. He's in the Pure Land already. The West here refers to the West of Bliss Pure Land. We are here. We're trying to go to the West. Escape. The Pure Land Dharma door is horizontal escape. You're here, and we go to the West. We get out. We don't need to become enlightened. That's the nature of the Pure Land Dharma door. So it says, you go to the West. You may be at the West, but if your mind is impure, you're still at fault. You still have problems. You see? So what is he saying? He's saying that it's about avoiding creating offenses. The implication you're suffering right now, you're trying to get away right now, is because you're creating offenses. That's what he means by at fault. Next, 53. The person of the East creates offenses, then recite the Buddha's name, seeking rebirth to the West. In the West, when the person of the West commits offenses and recites the Buddha's name, in which country can he seek rebirth?
东方人造罪，念佛求生西方；西方人造罪，念佛求生何国？
I don't quite like this logic here, but Chinese, old Chinese, and they don't study logic like the way we do here in the West. You take a course in logic, and then this is not how you prove anything. But anyway, this is rhetorical questions. Like someone asked me earlier, is it a rhetorical question? Now it is. So he's throwing a rhetorical question. He says, you worry about East land, Eastern Buddha land, Western Buddha land. East being a place where you create offenses. Now you know you're creating offense, you go to the West to get out. Way Mountain.
Thank you, Master. Yes, this would be like an inverse if and only if.
Yeah. So he goes to the West. And then if you're in the West, you create offenses. Where are you going to go? Go to the East. You are as West as it goes. So he's being just a rhetorical question, being sarcastic. That's all he says. So people will look at the wrong things, which means what? It means that don't continue to create offenses seeking to skip town. That's what you're doing. Cut it out. Does it make sense? you're confused if all you do is to continue to create offenses, and then at the end of your life you say, okay, I'm going to skip town. Okay, that's all. Yes, sir. 5.
Thank you, Master. So I understand is the 6th Patriarch saying someone who's in the West is in the Western bliss Pure Land creating offenses?
Yes.
And they shouldn't be Thank you. So aren't they already in the place where you're supposed to go to?
No, they're in the Western bliss Pure Land in order to cultivate, and but in a safe environment where they will no longer suffer. There's a reason the Pure Land Dharma door for you Westerners is that the Asians, they realize that life here in the Sahara world is full of suffering. So much suffering that, and in order to escape suffering, the way that we taught here in the Sahara world, in our galaxy, is you need to become enlightened. And for most people, they don't have the time or the energy or the blessings to cultivate. They have to make ends meet, and they need to take care of the family. It's obligations. They need to run for office, and so forth. And that's why people, those people who cannot cultivate or cannot do anything about their future right now, they hope that at the end of their lives, they go to the Pure Land, then they can escape all sufferings, because supposedly in the Pure Land, you will no longer have any suffering whatsoever, and in one lifetime, you will become a Buddha under the guidance of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. In particular, Amitabha Buddha will be your personal personal teacher. Sorry. Okay, so that's so advantageous. Right now, look, you don't have really a good teacher. That's just so sad. When you go over there, Amitabha says, hey, come son, I will take care of you. I will guide you every single step of the way. I will always be there for you until you become a Buddha. Name anyone who can do it for you. Amitabha promises us to do that. And not only that, but also you will never suffer again, ever. Okay? Now, even if you don't believe it, but wouldn't that be nice as to have an option for someone else? Like, I don't know, your mother-in-law? Just throw a name, you know?
Well, thank you, Master. With all due respect, I have a better teacher right now than I could have ever possibly imagined was possible.
Well, thank you very much. Is it me you're referring to? No.
Yes. Yes, specifically you, Master.
But you know, wait until you go to the Western Bliss Pure Land and meet with Amitabha Buddha. Okay? You'll be so much happier. Promise.
Thank you, Master. I'm going to focus on learning to endure the suffering between now and then with your instruction. But to the point of the 6th Patriarch's question, rhetorical or not, is if you're in the Western Bliss Pure Land and you have the habit energies and you're committing offenses there too, like you did in the East or the Saha world, wouldn't you just stay there and repent for your offenses and continue to cultivate? Isn't that part of the process?
Yeah. Again, it's rhetorical. That's why I don't quite know how to explain this to Westerners. Well, for the Asian, they talk about East-West lands and East Buddha land, West Buddha lands, and so forth. That's why it seems to make sense to them. I never liked this section. I felt that I couldn't identify with it. I'm not doing a good job explaining it. Maybe someone else will. But I failed to buy into the logic about East and West Buddha lands. That's all. It doesn't make sense to me. I couldn't connect with it. But basically, the concept here is that it's not the East and the West. It's about the reason that you're running away because you're trying to skip town after you create boo-boos and cut it out. Way mountain.
Thank you, Master. Is it Pure Land not just for the Saha world? This Pure Land is for all living beings in the universe?
Yes, the Buddha land is for all living beings. Amitabha Buddha is actually recruiting all sorts of living beings to go to his Buddha land. In particular, in our world, the Saha world, Shakyamuni Buddha especially promotes us going to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land. So they're working in conjunction. Shakyamuni Buddha basically says, see, you're suffering. Try to put an end to the suffering. You see, you can't. If you can't, then go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, where you no longer suffer. So actually, Shakyamuni Buddha is actively promoting people like us to encourage, and he encourages us to go to the Pure Land because that's the quickest way for us to get out of this mess. Because we didn't, we'll continue to suffer for a long, long time, revolving in this wheel reincarnation. So that's why the Pure Land Dharma door is so attractive. But so in particular, the beings in the Saha world where we are, we have great affinity to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha had connection with us before, so that's why it's a lot easier for us to go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land than the other Pure Lands. And only we're talking about the Saha world, but many, many living beings throughout the universe are encouraged to go to Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land. Okay? With the various Dharma doors. For us here is that we should be reciting Buddha's name. Okay? And yes, too.
Master commits offenses in the Saha world, gets sent to the Pure Land, and they still have the mindset of creating offenses. How do they create offenses in the Pure Land if there's no alcohol to drink, or how does that work? There's
so that's why it's rhetorical. He's talking about you guys only want to run away. You keep on creating offenses. So if you create offense here, then you skip town, you go over there. You know what? You're going to continue to create offenses. That's the whole point. Then where are you going to go next? Your mindset is on skipping town. You're so irresponsible. You keep on creating offenses and hurting others and so forth. And then you decide to run away. And then you go to a place like Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, that's the West. And you bring the same mindset, okay, of creating offenses. Then where are you going to go? The answer is Wan Yin's palace, the Pure Land jail. But that's too complicated. YouTube question. This is why I don't like this section here. His reasoning, it opens a can of worms. Whatever I explain to you, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be impressed. And I would let Amitabha Buddha and the 6th Patriarch explain it, and they do a better job. Okay, I'm struggling with trying to explain this concept, his reasoning. You too.
Thank you, Master. we have a YouTube question from Diego Alfonso, but first I want to express my sincere gratitude to our YouTube audience. We have over 60 people watching the Dharma Talk live across
Yay.
English.
6th Patriarch seems to be has a good following, huh?
So,
Sutra.
forgive me, I believe you've already answered this question, but for due diligence, Diego asks, Amitofuo Master, I thought you couldn't create offenses at the Western Pure Land as we don't have greed, anger, nor stupidity over there.
It's again, offenses here is a concept of the Saha world. Okay? When the 6th Patriarch said, you creating offenses in the East, it's actually based on greed, anger, stupidity. You're right. You see, I've been waiting for someone to ask this question, and I don't know. Can we move on, please? but I was hoping that someone would not ask. You know what I mean? Yeah. Who would want to ask me a question knowing I can't answer the question? I thought that when I was at my master's temples, I started asking questions to my teachers, my Dharma brothers who were supposed to train me. And they red face. So I saw it, I did it a couple of times. I said, no, I'm not going to ask questions anymore. And clearly, those 2 times I asked probing questions is still hurting me. People are still chasing me after, to try to make me answer questions I cannot answer. Okay, so again, offense is a concept here of the East land, East Buddha land. So far, so good. And so that's why he says, you here, you create offenses, and you seek over there, you run away. That means you're skipping town. I put it in terms of skipping town. You go over there, you bring the same habit energy. You understand? It's just a different place, but you're still the same. The concept is important. If you have these habit energies, you carry it with you. This is very important to remember. You may disagree with East and West and so forth, but the concept here that I wanted to stress with you is that thinking of skipping town is not very wise. Number 2 is there's a habit energy. If the primary part of your life is spent on creating offenses, he's saying it, you create offenses now. You go over there, you will continue to create offenses. That's the point. Okay? Now, so that's why stop creating offenses, shouldn't we? That's the whole point of this. Not East and West, really. Okay? But that's how he phrases. That's why I struggle with trying to explain to you. Okay? And then if you force me and tell me and ask me, like someone chose to do, if you go over there is no greed, anger, stupidity. Here we create offenses because it's based on greed, anger, stupidity. Okay? You go over there, how do you create offenses? Because of greed, anger, stupidity. You create offenses over there, but there's no hells. There's no hungry ghost realms. There's no animal realms. That's why you may regress a little bit, but you will not suffer. And don't ask me, what about suffering over there? Okay, I forbid you. None of you, okay, don't test me. Because if you do, I will give you another answer. And I will say, don't ask me the next question. Way Mountain.
Okay, I won't ask you.
Cutting you off right now. I don't want to stay here. Okay? That's my problem. Every time I give you something, you ask for more. Tell me more. I said, no. It's best to tell you no right now. Yes.
Thank you, Master. And in follow-up to Jeannie's question, since living beings from all worlds can go to the Western Bliss Pure Land, and I'm really fascinated with what I'm learning with the Avatamsaka Sutra about, like, Mount Sumeru and like the geography of the universe. So if beings from other worlds can go to the Western Bliss Pure Land, is it always to the west?
Yeah, it's to the west of us. It's 10 billion galaxies away to the west of us, because of the way of the way the Dharma realm or universe is structured. It's very well organized, and on this tier here of this sea world flowers, whatever you've learned that the word, I cannot remember. Okay, because no one wants to talk about it. Okay. It's too confusing, too big, and too much for us. So in this universe here, it's organized by tiers. Okay, and we are on like a 13th tier of that, and our world is called Sa world right here, and to the west of us, 10 billion worlds away, is the Western Bliss Pure Land. So that's why there's the east and west, because we're on this tier. Okay. In a different Buddha land, impure Buddha land, they may see, for example, to the north of us. They may say it, or maybe to the south of us, or to the east of us. So it depends where you are. For us, it's the West. All right? Very good. Anyone else? Okay, let's move on. 55. Ordinary deluded people do not understand the self-nature and do not know that the Pure Land is within themselves. Therefore, they make vows for the East and vows for the West.
凡愚不了自性，不是身中净土，愿东愿西。
Okay, 56. He says, basically, you are confused, or ordinary people, which is a more polite term. Ordinary people, she could have added, ordinary people are deluded. They don't understand the self-nature. Okay? It doesn't matter how smart you are, how rich you are, how successful you are. Okay? As long as you still have delusions, it's because you don't realize you have a self-nature. Okay? You cannot see your Buddha nature. Okay? And that's why they don't realize that the Pure Land is within themselves. Remember the 2 slides ago, it says, when the mind is purified, then the Buddha Land is purified. Meaning, if you become enlightened, then this whole world here is pure, is a Pure Land for that enlightened person. That's why I changed it to when your mind is purified. The rest of us, confused people, deluded people, still are suffering, still are seeking rebirth, and still are trying to end our suffering. But if you become enlightened, okay, then all your suffering stops. So that's why enlightened people do not seek, do not feel the need to seek for rebirth to the West, because they are no longer suffering. Okay? If someone asks me a question I can't answer, I know there's a question I can't answer. Well, you're not going to ask me. Oh, good. So you don't know the question. Okay. Okay, so So for enlightened people, they realize that when you become enlightened, this land here, this whole world becomes a pure land. Okay? So that's why he says, 6th Patriarch said, the pure land within ourselves. Okay? That's all. Because you don't realize, that's why you try to go to the Eastern Pure Land, or the Western Bliss Pure Land. That's why you're trying, because you're trying to get off, you're trying to get away, because your mind is not purified. That's all. '57. To enlightened people, all places are the same. That is why the Buddha said, wherever one dwells, one is always peaceful and blissful.
悟人在处一般，所以佛言，随所住处恒安乐。
Okay, so he says, that's why after you become enlightened, you are always peaceful and blissful. These enlightened people do no longer feel the need to seek for rebirth to the Pure Land. And I'm going to cut off your impending question, which I cannot answer, by telling you that these enlightened people can go anywhere they wish. Now they have the choice. Are you happy? When you're happy, you don't ask questions. Okay? And this is a nice thing. Let's look beyond it. Okay? You are suffering right now. You're struggling right now. You're overwhelmed right now. When you become enlightened, this is why the 6th Patriarch, his emphasis is that become enlightened, be enlightened, seek enlightenment. Because when you do become enlightened, you are always peaceful and blissful. This is where this Chinese translator chose a little bit weak. I would say, wherever you are, you will always be peaceful and blissful. It's much stronger than wherever one there, when it's always peaceful and blissful. It's just lacks punch. This is a Chan Patriarch. When he teaches you like this, he punches you in the gut, so that you react. You cannot avoid it. It's not being polite at all. Okay, so wherever you are, you will always be peaceful and blissful. Therefore, become enlightened. That's a message. If you complain about your suffering, you complain about your leg pains, you complain about, being hungry and so forth. You complain, okay? And you ought to know, if the path you're going right now, you continue this path, you'll continue to suffer. But if you choose to put an end to this, okay, then you can seek enlightenment, and you always there's no more suffering. That's a message. So it's your choice. I told you. Until your mind becomes purified, you will suffer. You will continue to suffer. So it's up to you. What do you want to do? Message being that if you cannot do anything about it right now, seek rebirth of the Pure Land. The Master never said here. The Master Hui Nang never said, don't go to the Western Bliss Pure Land. He just says, let me tell you, my disciples who are enlightened, they're here in the assembly. They're enlightened. They saw the Buddha nature. You ask them, they say, oh, I'm blissful, I'm peaceful. He dare say it in front of all his disciples, 3,000 disciples, and officials and all these visitors, and all beings from all over the universe attending his lecture. And no one objected to it. No one said, oh, I'm enlightened, but could you explain to me why I'm still suffering? I see, that's a proof. It never happened. Because then that guy, Faha, would have recorded it. He said, I hate to tell you this, but there's the director's uncut version with this sutra where actually someone did ask, he says, I'm an enlightened master and I'm still suffering so much. But no one, truth is that everyone agreed. Okay? 59. Magistrate, if the mind ground is only without unwholesomeness, the West is not far from here. If one's heart harbors unwholesomeness, one may recite the Buddha's name, but it will be difficult to attain rebirth there.
使君心地，但无不善。西方去此不遥。若怀不善之心，念佛往生难到。
60. He says, Dear Magistrate, okay, the chant master, they don't do like this, Dear, oh dear, it's too much salesmanship. So it's magistrate. If the mind ground is only without unwholesomeness, the West is not far from here. Unwholesomeness, let's look at that word. It seems to be a key word. What does it mean? Unwholesomeness is nothing bad, nothing evil, only good. Okay? What is that exactly? Again, enlightened mind. Until you become enlightened, your mind is still unwholesome. Okay. That's what he says. That's what he means. If your mind is still unwholesome, if you're not enlightened yet, look at your mind, you see it's still unwholesome. It still has evil thoughts, still have evil designs, still have all these icky stuff. Okay? But if your mind, look at your mind all day, is free from unwholesome thoughts, from bad thoughts, if you will, then the West is not far from here. Meaning that for you to go to the West, it's very easy. It's very close. It's even 10 billion galaxies away. It's very close for you. Meaning that's why I just told you, when you are enlightened, you can go to the West. Your choice. He just reiterated it. He just confirmed it. So far, so good? Okay, continue. You see, the Chinese, they're very elegant. They're not like us. You tell me, where's the beef? 61 commentary. If your heart harbors unwholesomeness, you may recite Buddha's name, it will be difficult for you to attain rebirth there. Let's talk about unwholesomeness. Okay? We know what unwholesomeness, but the key word here is the unwholesomeness. But the key word here is harbors, harbor freights. I mean, I go shopping there. Clearly, some of you don't ever go shopping at Harbor Freights. Good prices. Cheap stuff, but good prices. Okay, so harbors unwholesomeness is a key word here. Meaning what? You like it. Harbor, meaning that I harbor you, I tolerate you, I harbor you because I like it. I like unwholesomeness. That's why James Bond movies turn me on. Oh, the killing is so great. And the driving. And then, okay, all those is exciting because the mind harbors unwholesomeness. Okay, remember what they talk about in the Chanchi lectures? When you see unwholesomeness, look at yourself. Are you that way too? Is that clear? We're not talking theory, folks. You look at me and say, wow, he's so unwholesome. I don't want to be like that. Or am I like that? Okay? Yeah. If you like that, if you harbor and you disguise your greed, you disguise your anger, you disguise your stupidity because you're afraid to lose face. You don't want people to know. Then it will be very difficult for you to attain rebirth to the Western Bliss Pure Land. You see, this is what I love about the teacher, the 6th Patriarch. He first is very cruel. He says, you're not enlightened. You do stupid things. You seek rebirth to the Pure Land. Be enlightened. Okay, but then he says, and this is so elegant in such like a brutal way. He says, you're not enlightened, so that's why. If you're enlightened, it's not a problem. But you're not enlightened. Let me remind you. Okay, you can practice the Pure Land Dharma door for a long, long time until the end of your life. It's very difficult for you to get reborn to the Western Bliss Pure Land. I remember when I first started teaching 16 years ago, everyone recited the Buddha's name. Everyone told me, Chan is too difficult to teach. Everyone enters demonic states. 走火入魔, okay? And you get in big trouble and the monks cannot help you and so forth. After 16 years, none of us has gotten the demonic states. Okay, people have been able to go to the Pure Land and so forth. So I looked into Pure Land Dharma doors, and all the Asians teachers are saying, "Oh, it's so easy. I will help you get to the Pure Land. It's so easy. Just recite Buddha's name. We'll go to the Pure Land." Even their own followers. It's just my neighbor across the street in Lu Mountain Temple. He says, I send people to Pure Land. Don't worry. After you die, I'll come recite and send you to the Pure Land. You hear? I guarantee it. Okay? So the lesson here, the point here, is when you listen to those people who make those claims, is it motivated by greed, by anger, by stupidity? Then they still harbor unwholesomeness. Therefore, they cannot help you. When are you going to wake up? This is the implication of his message. Why didn't Chinese clarify it for us? I don't get it. He's not criticizing a Pure Land Dharma door. We agree on that. He's not criticizing it. He's simply saying that your understanding is wrong. Your priorities are misplaced. That's all. And I share with you, I understand. Yes, you're doing all these things, and beware. Okay, the bottom line is you wish to go to the Pure Land, okay, and all the things you're doing, And if you try the Buddha's name and you fail to decrease your unwholesomeness, you will not go to the Pure Land. It's very difficult for you. When are you going to wake up? You can be reciting Buddha's name for 30, 40 years. It's not going to happen. Yes, 3.
Okay. Does it require, Master, does it require, if you want to reduce your unwholesomeness, are you required to identify like what actions by you are unwholesome? And I ask this because I realize that with my interactions with my wife, I constantly do things that are driven by my ego, and I don't realize it until, like much later when she's upset at me and complains. So one thing I'm wondering is like, what is the best expedient method for, reducing your unwholesomeness?
Cultivation. Cultivation, as you improve, your unwholesomeness decreases. Look, since the first day you came to the temple until now, your heart harbors fewer unwholesomeness, or not?
Yeah, so that part I'm not sure. Like, I think I harbor less selfish attitudes, but I still...
Quite a ways to go.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight. But the point here is that if you want to reduce the unwholesomeness in your heart, it's going to take time. And it happened gradually. But the process that we practice here has helped a lot of people, including yourself. Each person will be different, but it's the same direction we're going. We're doing our things, living our lives, but the spiritual practice that we engage in is actually helping us become more wholesome, if you will. And so it's a natural evolution. Okay? If your question is meant to say, how much longer? My answer for you directly is, not this lifetime, man. For you to remove all unwholesomeness, one lifetime, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of dedication. It's a lot of sacrifices that, frankly, that you are not equipped to deliver. Because you have obligations. We all have obligations to our families, to our friends, to our work, our colleagues, all those. It's not that easy. Even the people who do it professionally, like us, we struggle too. It's hard work. So, of course, I read your question and your statements as is, I wish I could be making progress a lot more quickly. Okay? To that, my answer is, so do I. Okay? But it is what it is. We are who we are. We try our best. And that's part of being more wholesome. If you're saying, I want to be wholesome tomorrow, what is that called? Greed. You will not be wholesome. So that's why it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen like the way you imagine. It's the same thing. Similarly, part of this process here is evolution. we evolve, we ascend naturally, okay, by doing the right things. And that's part of the charm. The charm is that I don't know, but I find it much more interesting to me that people are not perfect. To me, it's more charming. I find that, for example, in my experience, this moment here is, I would say, in relationships, in real life, resiliency is longevity. Okay, a relationship, for example, we all make mistakes, big mistakes. Okay, so the point here is to learn from it and recover from it. And by the way, that's what Chan excels at doing. We recover from, we get out of trouble, we learn to get out of trouble so that in the future we avoid getting into such troubles. Okay, so that's why the more you practice, the more you follow the spiritual path, you will become more resilient. And that's how your relationships become longer lasting, more rewarding. You cannot have longevity unless you build up your resilience. Meaning that we're going to have, you're going to have fights with the people you care for, love for. You're going to offend them, you're going to hurt them deeply. And if you cultivate, you find a way to recover from that, actually, the relationship becomes stronger. It will last. And to me, that's a charm right there, because you keep on fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And let me tell you, how many people can you find in the world who's like that? It's so charming to me in that sense. I keep fighting for it. I keep fighting for my girlfriend. I keep fighting for my wife. I remember, when I was, my girlfriend wanted to break up with me because she said, "You are, no good. My boyfriend's better." I said, "How could you leave me?" So I fought and fought and fought. I was so stupid, fought in so stupid ways, call up a friend and pretend to be the uncle, and they come to find out who the boyfriend really is and so forth. And it was so stupid. I was so stupid. But I was determined to fight and fight and fight. And then I wasn't fooling anyone at all. But then my girlfriend said, "Wow, I like this guy. He really fights for me. He really cares." And so when her boyfriend, he says, "Why are you still with him? I thought you went to break up with him. Why are you still with him?" And he says, "If you like that, I don't have to put up with this." She says, "Wow, he's not even fighting for me." My current boyfriend. You see, that's how I want her back. And that's what I mean by charming. It's fantastic. That's part of the fun. Don't say that I don't want to make mistakes.
He has to finish this thing first.
Okay? We'll all make mistakes. We'll recover. We'll figure out a way to recover. Okay? And to me, that's what makes a relationship last longer. It's not just this moment. It's next year, next decade, next century, next lifetime. How about it? Why are you so attached to your wife? You know, it's most likely you think, oh, you know, she's the only girl is like that. I've never met anyone else like that. You know what? What you don't realize is most likely you were married to her before. You chased after her before. And so forth. That's why I call it longevity. Same thing at work. You know, in order for us to get a promotion, we have to be resilient. We have to work our butt off and earn our way. Unlike the babies, they expect the parents to give it to them. We fight for it. We earn it. That's how we become better people. I love the struggle. You know what? I think when I become a Buddha, which is very far away, I'm pretty sure, I probably want an impure land because I like the suffering so much. It's so cute to see you fight and fight and fight. When I go to Pure Land, people, oh, I'm so happy, I'm so happy, I'm so happy. Oh, I want James Bond. You know, I think. Okay. You too.
Thank you, Master. We have a comment and a question. First, for your reference, Master, Derek did want to let you know that he shops at Harbor Freight all the time.
Thank you. Two of us. Makes two of us now. And Jung, that's three. We're all cheapskates. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Master. YouTube question from Alex. Alex asks, Master, my defilements and unwholesomeness define my ego. When I go to the Pure Land, my ego will not go with me. Is there any part of me that I know now that will go to the Pure Land?
When you go to the Pure Land, you bring your ego with you, Alex. Guaranteed. Okay? Along with all the icky stuff. But you know what? Amitabha Buddha says, I don't mind, I still like you. Okay. 62. Good knowing advisors, I now exhort you all to first expel the 10 evils. Then you will have gone 100,000 leagues. Next, get rid of the 8 deviations, and you will have gone 8,000 more leagues.
经劝善知识，先除10恶，即行10万，后除8邪，乃过8000。
Okay. 63. So the 6th Patriarch says, talk is talk. But to me, what matters is whether you stay here or you go to the Western Bliss Pure Land, it's the same thing. Okay? You should first expel the 10 evils. And next, get rid of the 8 deviations. Okay? We explain them. But it's a call for action. This is what you ought to do. Whether you become enlightened or you wish to go to the Pure Land, it's the same thing. If you get rid of the 10 evils, you should have gone 100,000 leagues. We're getting closer to your goal, right? Going 100,000 leagues is that it means you're closer to your goal. And then next, you want to go a little bit better, go a little bit closer than the 8 deviations. So far, so good. It's very clear. Okay? Wherever your goal is, enlightenment or Western Bliss Pure Land, that's what you need to do. Okay? 10 evils. There's no explanation. 10 evils. What am I supposed to do? Okay, 10 evils are the 10 things, the 10 karmas you create. You know, the mind is greedy, angry, stupid. The mouth has 4: lying, coarse speech, frivolous speech, double-tongued speech. Okay, and the body has killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. Those are the 10 evils. So far, so good. Get rid of those. Then you're a lot closer. Don't talk. Okay, you have to do it. And next, I think they explain. Okay, I think they explain it later. Okay, okay. Sorry, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. Okay, now let's continue. 64. If in thought after thought you constantly see your nature and practice impartiality and straightforwardness, you will arrive in a finger snap and see Amitabha Buddha.
念念见性，常行平直，道如弹指，便睹弥陀。
Okay, so he says, in thought after thought, here is Chan right here. Thought after thought, you constantly see your nature. Okay, again, this is enlightenment. Make no mistakes about it. And it's very, very technical, very precise. If thought after thought, you constantly see your nature. To see your nature, 见性. Okay, 见性 is to see your nature. Okay, that means become enlightened. Okay, there's no other interpretation. 见性 here in the China world is to become enlightened. See your Buddha nature means become enlightened. All right? And for some reason, some Chinese texts say 见性成佛. I don't like that expression. Okay? But it's true, but it's misleading, especially for our Dharma ending age where most people can distort that and manipulate information. But anyway, 见性 here is when you become enlightened. Okay? And then you can easily practice impartiality and straightforwardness. Okay? Equanimity and directness. Okay? Meaning that if you're not enlightened yet, then in order for you to see your nature, you should learn be more impartial and more direct. Okay? What's impartial? Impartial is you go to the temple and you don't say, oh, my other temple, there's no kids screaming at all. When the kids are screaming, you say, oh, how cute. What's another example of impartial? Master yells at you. You say, oh wow, this master here is not like a master at all. The other master, they're so magnanimous, they're so adorned, they are so unemotional. They must be enlightened. They may be, but you are not. Okay? Nor am I. We're practicing impartiality. Agree? I don't discriminate against you. You don't discriminate against me. How's that? Is it deal? So impartial is that stop judging people. Stop comparing. Is that okay? Because that's what you do constantly. I like this better. This is better. That's not as good. Sounds familiar? You're not impartial. This is faster. This is better. I want to get rid of all my unwholesomeness. You're not impartial. I'm looking, hey, you're unwholesome. So am I. He says, your wife tells you, you so me. You're right. But I will get better. I promise. Because I want to fight for you. You watch me and see. Okay? You will not find someone who fights as hard for you as I am. Okay. Because I'm very partial about you. I'm impartial about everything else. It's a lie, but it works all the time. Okay? So impartial. We talk about impartial. You better learn. It's called French 维养. Okay? Okay. Yes, sir. 2.
Master, what does that mean? Jin Sing. It means enlightenment in Chinese.
Jin Sing. Yes.
Jin Sing.
See the nature. It's a very important phrase. Jin Sing. Jin Sing, not Jin Sing. It's Okay. What about straightforwardness? See, people keep on talking about words. I'm impartial. I'm straightforward. But it's, to me, they really fail to look at themselves. They only talk about concepts. Okay? But they judge you constantly. Yes, 7.
Thank you, Master. So what is the difference between discriminating and differentiating?
He's referring to your discriminating mind, where when you talk about discriminating mind, actually it means that you have a built-in preference. Okay? Meaning that you prefer things over others, so you're not impartial right there. It's that built-in preferences that makes you partial. And that's confusion. Why is it confusion? Because if you really have wisdom, you see that, for example, let's talk about specific things. For example, gold. You like gold or not? Anyone likes gold? Okay? You're not partial. My proof. Okay? Why? Because if you have wisdom, then the people with wisdom can look at gold and say gold is basically empty. That's how you become impartial. You become impartial because you see the true nature of things. Your wife is empty. Your children are empty. Okay? That's wisdom. What's empty? Meaning that you're not attached. Empty doesn't mean that you can discard them and say, okay, take my wife, take my children. That's too much. Okay? Empty is that you have it, good. You don't have it, it's still good. All you do is try your best. You can't always succeed. You can't always win her heart, but we're going to give it a good fight. Okay? And that's part of the fun. Don't be so attached. I need to succeed. I need to make money. I need to become famous. I need to become rich and full. I need to be successful. I was built that way. It's miserable. You have a miserable life because that's all you have. You go after this thing here, which is basically nonsense. Okay? That's because you have no wisdom. That's why you are not impartial. Doesn't mean you stop fighting. Impartial people, if it's a worthwhile thing to do, they still fight. They still work hard. They still contribute. They still make sacrifices. They still eat. They still, sleep. They still, But they're not as attached. And because of that, actually, they're much better off. The world is better off. Your children will be better off because you have wisdom. Okay? That's impartiality. What about straightforward? What is straightforward? That's a hard one. I don't know. Ask your husband. You married people, ask your partner. Is your husband straightforward with you? Are you straightforward with your husband? With your boyfriend? With your girlfriend? Oh? Oh? These are important concepts. Why? Because you should look at yourself. Where are you in this scale? Are you straightforward with the people that are most important to you? I ask you, are you straightforward? Then, if you're straightforward, then you will arrive at the promised land. Whatever you call it, happiness, success. And you don't need to cheat. Ordinary people, they get there, they get what they want by lying and by cheating, and will eventually catch up with them. Uh-oh. It's hard to be impartial when they're ruining your temple. No one died yet? Way Mountain.
Thank you, Master. I think my wife Jeannie might be a finger snap away from appearing before my eyes.
Well, we better ask her. Okay. Yes?
She's very equanimitous with her straightforwardness. As soon as I wake up in the morning, she'll let me know that I'm a big idiot who didn't remember to put the scissors back where they belong. I get it right away. It's very straightforward, and she equally calls me a big idiot for other tasks too.
As someone said, someone has got to yell at me. Okay? And this is an art to being straightforward as well. Don't be stupid. Okay? You're straightforward to the people who are important to you. And when you cannot be straightforward, shut up. That's being straightforward as well. Don't get them wrong, okay? You're going to say, but Master, why? Master Hui Neng just told me to straightforward. Tomorrow you tell your boss, boss, I hate your guts. You're so ugly. You're fat. And, and none of us has respect for you. You're obsolete. My generation understands more about our discipline than you. You basically a paper pusher and so forth. That's what happens in the world. The manager, especially not supervisor, managers are actually technical idiots. Technically, they're obsolete. Okay? Because their focus is on different things, not technical things anymore. So that's not being straightforward, it's being stupid. Okay? Let me clarify for you. You want, on the other hand, though, that you want to be straightforward because it builds trust. Okay? And will bring you closer to wisdom and where you wanted to go in the first place. I don't get it. Why is it we teach our children and our students and our people that, just get there, just get it, whatever it takes. And we never taught them there's certain conditions that we want to be impartial, we want to be straightforward in order to get what we want. Because if you compromise, you'll not be happy with yourself. You made the wrong choice. Your method is wrong. You will not be happy to the results. Yes, 3.
Master, does straightforward also mean just like, especially to people who are important to you, to be direct with your feelings? So if you're angry by something, you directly say it?
Yes.
Or do I have to be smart about it because
you say it, but you choose your words carefully. Don't get fired. Don't make enemies unnecessarily. Okay? It is an art to being straightforward. What is straightforward? Let me spell it out for you. Your mind is straight like hell, but your mouth is smarter. Does it help? We're talking about wisdom here. Straightforward and wise, not straightforward and stupid. It's a difference. Okay? So as you become wiser and understand more, you learn to be how to become better at being straightforward. But what he's referring to is that in your mind, you have to be straightforward. Okay? As long as you're not straightforward, let me remind you, it's not about your jobs, not about your promotion and your friends and so forth. What I'm talking about here is, to me, is a personal thing. Because being straightforward, okay, the more straightforward you are, that's when you lower your walls. When you don't feel you need to defend yourself, protect yourself. That's when you gain trust. So it's by degrees. The more straightforward you are, the more people will trust you. Okay? But that's at the personal level. But straightforward here also means that, and equanimity, it also means that your head is so clear, you don't process. You don't discriminate. I like that. I don't like this. Look at this. I hate this. No. You're always processing. Okay? You're busy processing. And then you're busy formulating yourself, your words. Because you're not straightforward. But when you're straightforward, actually something happens. When your mind is straight, your words come out much better, much more effective. Because when you talk to people, when you ask them a question, I think, and that's when you know they're processing like they're crazy and say, what is that she's seeing in me? Did I comb my hair? It's something like that. So that's why they put you in the defensive mode immediately. And that's why the relationship has to climb over fences, over walls. That's what people don't realize, folks. They prefer safety over trust. And it's a lot of baggage, what we call in Buddhism. You carry so much baggage. Does it help? Where are we? I still have 10 more minutes. You arrive in a finger snap and see Amitabha Buddha. Okay, so again, if you want to get reborn to the Western Bliss Pure Land, okay, you should practice to be impartial and straightforward. It will help your recitation as well. It's so compassionate of Master Huineng to point out things here that we Pure Land practitioners and teachers don't teach, don't put enough emphasis. You have to believe him when he says, if you go see Amitabha Buddha, and one of the two things, be more impartial, be more straightforward. All the other teachers say recite more Buddhism, go to more my Fochi and my Wan Yin Chi and so forth. Sounds familiar? 6th Patriarch says, be impartial, be more impartial, be more straightforward. That's how you practice it. And that's why the Chinese don't get it. They think, oh, this is a 6th Patriarch is Chan. No, he's teaching us how to practice the Pure Land here. So when you go to Chan Chi, when you go to Fo Chi or Wan Yin Chi, remind me, okay, to remind you, be more impartial, be more straightforward. Okay? So can we do like, hey, boys and girls, why don't we do a sign right there? Like today, our Wan Yin Chi and Fo Chi, for the 1 week here, let's be more impartial, more straightforward. Because that's what he says. This is the secret ingredients for successful Pure Land practice. I'm sorry, I cannot test this anymore, but I'm hoping that you will. Yes, sir, too.
Master, is there a difference between straightforward and being blunt?
You be blunt when you want to shake up the tree. Because words hurt. You say, let me be blunt, is that I'm going to shock you. I'm going to tell you something you don't expect. Being straightforward doesn't necessarily mean you have to be blunt. I told you, just explain it. Straightforward, your mind says so. You might say, okay? But you don't realize if your mind is that straight. Excuse me. Because your mind is straight, you're not processing. That's why your mind can have the option of choosing how to say it to you. Am I making sense to you? Because when your mind is not straightforward, you say, let me see. How shall I put it to you? And you're processing, right? So your mind is engaged in processing. And now, let me tell you, on the other side, the guys, whoop, I better raise my wall. Okay? So you disconnect with the receiver. That's why your message is no longer effective. I'm too technical for you. You don't realize it's such a great advantage of being straightforward. Okay? You don't know. And let me tell you, when you do 4Qi, 1Yin, just be more impartial. Be more straightforward. Okay? And offend people or whatever for the heck of it. Okay? Don't be so picky. So if we go 1Qi and 4Qi and 咸通 cooks really greasy food, eat it. Don't say, I hate it. I prefer Zhongyin Sunim's food, much leaner. Okay? Just eat. Be impartial. Don't say, okay? And then you can be now, during the times at the temple, that's when you can be straightforward and offend each other like crazy. Don't choose words, just spit it out and see what happens. Okay? Whether it helps your practice. How about now? We have a chanchi. Be more impartial, be more straightforward. Deal? Huh? Okay, let's move on. I still have time, okay. 66, magistrate, merely practice the 10 wholesome deeds. Then what need will there be for you to wish to be reborn there? But if you do not sever the mind of the 10 evils, what Buddha will come to welcome you?
使君但行十善，何须更愿往生？不断十恶之心，何佛即来迎请？
Again, he goes in the Chinese things, and I really struggle with this because he's teaching a different kind of audience. He's a magistrate that an old, of the old times, and he's talking the Chinese. So the text here, is geared towards the Chinese for a certain time, where he says. Fundamentally, practice the 10 wholesome deeds. Okay, you perfect the 10 wholesome deeds, then there's no need for you to worry about rebirth. Okay, meaning that merely practice the 10 wholesome deeds. Don't lie, don't steal, don't kill, don't be greedy, don't be angry, don't be so forth. Okay. Which is very difficult to do. You can do all those. You can manage to practice these 10 wholesome deeds. Then there's no need for you to wish to skip town. But if you don't sever the minds of the 10 evils, okay, what Buddha will come to welcome you is, again, it's a rhetorical question. Trust me, all Buddhas love to welcome you. This is not true, okay? Buddhas are special, not like us. If you want to go to the Pure Land, they will welcome you, okay? It's just a rhetorical question, okay? Amitabha Buddha still welcomes you to his Pure Land, even though you haven't severed your mind from the 10 evils. That's a fact. But it's a rhetorical question thing. Okay? When the mind is equanimous while keeping precepts, okay? So meaning that never mind, if you discriminate less, then you won't break precepts. You break fewer precepts. You break precepts less often. Okay? So, be less discriminatory. That will help you keep precept. Be more wholesome. 69. If you become enlightened to the certain Dharma of non-production, you will see the West in a kasana. Unenlightened, you may recite the Buddha's name seeking rebirth, but since the road is so long, how can you traverse it?
若悟无生顿法，只见西方只在刹那，不悟念佛求生路遥，如何得达？
Okay, 70. And continuing his logic, Chinese logic, if you become enlightened to certain Dharma non-production. Okay, YouTube comment, go ahead.
Master, this is not YouTube, this is me.
Hello, me.
On slide 68, the phrase, the mind is equanimous while keeping precepts. Master, where does that sentence come from the previous phrase, or what's happening? I did not see it.
I think we're probably missing a slide. Okay, I remember there's such a text. Maybe we deleted a slide or something, but it's part of the text. Okay? Thank you for pointing it out. We should fix the text, please. Okay. If you become enlightened to the certain Dharma non-production. Non-production here, the certain Dharma non-production refers to the wisdom, the awakening of a fourth stage Arhat or higher, when they enter this samadhi called non-production. Okay, what is this non-production? What's non-production are we talking about? Non-production of thoughts. In this samadhi, you will have no more thoughts arising in your mind. That's why it's called non-production. No more thoughts. Okay. Yes, 6.
A-di-đà Phật Thầy, thưa con không hiểu cái câu Thầy nói là nếu mà less discriminate then you don't break precept. Con không thấy hai cái nó relate với nhau Thầy.
Again, it's a rhetorical question. The question about precepts and toil, so when your mind equanimous and while toil, keeping precepts, it's a rhetorical question again. It's confusing for most people. He's addressing his enlightened people. When your mind is equanimous, meaning that you're completely impartial, it requires you to become enlightened. Then at that moment, you don't need to keep precepts anymore. You can keep precepts naturally, effortlessly. That's what he means. So that's, again, it's a rhetorical question again. But you see, and I'm glad you asked the question. I tried to gloss over it, but because he basically addressing his enlightened people. He says, many of you are enlightened already, Okay? I'm officially recognizing that. And the students back then, his disciples back then, he's right. No one said anything. They weren't even nodding their heads. Because then they would tell people that they are enlightened. Okay? You will see the West in a kasana. Okay? So a kasana, again, it's a good jargon to know. There are many different definitions of kasana. The easy one you remember, the 90 kasana in one thought. One thought. Okay? I hate you. Yes, 90 kasanas or 99, whatever. That unit, that interval of time, 90 of them, that one thought. Okay? And meaning in Kasana, there are 900 production and destructions. That's how minute your mind is. So when people tell me that my mind, I'm not thinking of anything, I chuckled, I said, you're right. You just can't see what you're thinking, that's all. You see the gradation here? 900 production and destruction mean 900 thoughts that arises and dies. Production is arisal, destruction is see how incredibly precise the Buddha's mind is. Isn't that cool? Hey, don't worry about the numbers. I don't care for numbers. You can look at this definition, this text here, that text here. They vary a little bit. But the concept here, it is so fine. The mind, our mind is incredible. If you can't see it, it's because you can't see it. Doesn't mean it's not true. The Buddha says so. The 6th Patriarch says so. Okay? All right. Unenlightened, you may recite the Buddha's name, seeking rebirth. It's in the road so long, how can you traverse it? Okay. And so again, he's more discussing if you depend on your own power, which is a Dharma door. You do something, you depend on your skills, your strength, your stamina, your smarts and everything, that's a Chan world. But I beg to disagree with him. If you choose to practice the Pure Land and totally and only, hello, dancer, and only depend on yourself, and I think that's not how people are when they practice the Pure Land. This is why I humbly beg to differ with Master Huineng. When you practice the Pure Land, I would tell you there are two ways. You do it yourself, or you get someone else to help you. It's that simple. That's why it's called Pure Land. That's why it's not called Chan. It's called Pure Land. It's Pure Land. Now you have the option. You say, I do Pure Land. I will become enlightened myself. I will bring myself to the Pure Land. By all means, you can be trained. You can do it on your own. Absolutely. Or if you can't, if you have to work, if you have to have a career, you have to raise a family, if you have to, too old, you can't do it anymore, okay? And then you probably want some help. So that's the beauty of the Pure Land. It's up to you. And the nice thing about the Pure Land, that's more advantageous than the Chan world, And it's a great news for every one of us, especially the ones who don't practice, who don't believe. Okay? Is that it's never too late. Because with others' help, you can still go to the Pure Land. So that's why Master Huineng's teaching here is more geared towards his audience, not for us. This is the very superior, elite people in the audience. And his audience who was listening, that's why he said, when he said this, everyone, now everyone's going like this. Before, they didn't want to, they didn't want to reveal themselves, okay? But now everyone said, oh yeah, very long, man. Yeah. But this is a rhetorical part of his speech, but it's not factual. Okay? It's for his audience. I will tell you, and this is important for me to remind you, that you do have the option. That's why the Pure Land Dharma door is so powerful. We have second chances. You miss this lifetime, you still can make it. Why do I say that? I'm saying that to challenge you. Those of you who are like in his disciples, who are sitting in the audience and say, yeah, I know, I agree with him. You know, if you enlighten, you know, it's very hard for you. But I'm also challenging those people. I'm telling those enlightened people of his, enlightened people of Master YongHua, if you really understand the Pure Land Dharma door, then you should be able to help people who don't practice. That's our Pure Land, our American Mahayana, our American Pure Land Dharma door. We know it has to be able to help people who practice and who cannot practice. That's the complete Pure Land Dharma door. What he's talking about is only half of it. That's all. So don't listen to this and become disheartened and say, oh no, this is too much work. I will not make it, I give up. Let me switch to Tibetan and come back here next lifetime. In a better state, better stature. Next time I want to be Speaker of the House in the United States Congress. Oh, by the way, those of you who don't follow news here in the U.S., we have a new Speaker of the House. And after an unprecedented 15 votes, failed votes, that means he's giving away the house, the kitchen sink, the toilet, the doors, the windows, everything else. Anyway, okay. So here a little bit one-sided description on the Pure Land Dharma door, but it's more from the Chan perspective. You depend on your own strength, then you struggle. But again, Pure Land Dharma door says, and this is great news, that you should try your best, and if you can't make it, you still can get help. And in particular, the people who cannot do it themselves, they definitely need help and can get help. Okay, and because of that, and again I stress that because I'm challenging all of you monks and nuns, enlightened people. Our Dharma has to help people who cannot help themselves. That's a Pure Land Dharma. If you can, work harder. You're not there yet. Don't rest on your laurels. And that's where the real help is, folks. How many people can practice like we do? If we keep on saying we practice Chan, become enlightened like the 6th Patriarch here, how many people can make it? The more good is Mahayana, American Mahayana. We know full well that you don't have time to practice anymore. Okay? All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry I went over time again. But that's kind of eating to your time a little bit. But remember, next Saturday, no class. Next following Saturday, no lecture either. Oh, you can take a break. Okay, thank you, everyone.